everyone, my name is Caitlin. Thank you so much for joining me on your mat today. Today's class is all about the hips, and we'll get started in a comfortable seated position. So find your way into a comfortable cross-legged seat. We'll bring our hands, palms face down on the knees. Start to settle into your seat, soften the shoulders, and begin to close the eyes. Taking a few deep breaths here, grounding down through the space beneath you. Creating space through the sides of the body and lengthening through the crown of the head. And then go ahead and set your intention for today's practice. Maybe that intention is to just be present. Maybe it's something else. Whatever your intention is, allow it to guide you through this practice today. Slowly start to blink open the eyes. And we'll inhale and press the heart forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the spine, draw the chin toward the chest. Inhale, heart presses forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the spine, tuck the chin toward the chest. One more time like that. Inhale, heart presses forward. Exhale, round the spine. Slowly come back to your neutral spine. We'll inhale, sweep the arms all the way overhead. As you exhale, draw the hands to heart center and make your way into a tabletop position. So coming onto hands and knees, begin to stack the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees. Ground down through the palms and the finger pads and start to take big circles with the hips, moving in one direction, moving into the sides of the body. As you come forward in your circles, shift the shoulders farther over the wrists. Invite any movement that feels right in your body today. And then gently change the direction of your circles. Deep breaths here. And then start to make your way back to your neutral tabletop position. Just like we did in our seat, inhale, drop the belly, heart presses forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhale as you round the spine, tuck the chin toward the chest, press the ground away. Inhale, drop the belly, heart presses forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the spine. One more time just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly make your way back to a neutral tabletop position. Walk the hands forward, tuck the toes. Lift the sit bones up and back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe bending into one knee at a time. Shifting the hips from side to side. And then as you find your way into a still downward facing dog, take a deep breath here. Melting the heels closer toward the earth, softening the shoulders, navel toward the spine. We'll start to shift the gaze forward toward the top of our mat and walk the feet all the way up behind the hands in a ragdoll. Keeping the feet about shoulder width apart, grab a hold of opposite elbows and allow the upper body to sway side to side. Maybe nodding the head yes and no. Releasing tension in the neck. Inviting a bend into the knees. Release the hands toward the earth. Begin to heel toe the feet to your normal hip distance apart. Root down through the feet. Roll all the way up one vertebra at a time to the top of your mat. Arms come down by your side. Tadasana, mountain pose. So reaching through the fingertips, soften the shoulders. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way overhead, palms press at the top. Exhale, lead with the heart, dive all the way forward and down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, hands can come to shins or to the sides of the toes. Exhale as you fold all the way forward and down. Inhale to rise, arms sweep on overhead, palms can press at the top. Exhale, hands through heart center, moving through a few more rounds of these sun breaths. Inhale, arms down, around and up, syncing the breath with the movement. Exhale, dive all the way forward and down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway. Hands to shins or to the sides of the feet. Exhale, dive all the way forward and down. Inhale to rise. Arms sweep on overhead. Palms press at the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more and adding on. Inhale, arms down, around and up. Exhale, dive all the way forward and down. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, hands to the earth. We're going to step it back to plank, moving through our first vinyasa. Shift forward on the toes. Exhale, down, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to your choice of back bend, either cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, lift the sit bones up and back, downward facing dog. 2 deep breaths here. Next, natural inhalation, sweep the right leg toward the sky, 3-legged dog. Go ahead and stack the hips, point the toes, and bend into the knee, squaring the shoulders toward the earth, opening into that hip, and then gently unwind. We'll step the right foot all the way up between the hands at the top of the mat. Lower the back knee to the earth, untuck the back toes, rise up, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. So fingertips reach toward the sky, create space in the sides of the body. Deep breaths here, creating space through that left hip flexor, drawing the hips to square toward the front of the mat. Slowly begin to lower the hands to the earth to frame that front foot. Tuck the back toes, start to lift the back knee, lengthen through the back leg. Press through the heel, get light on the fingertips, and rise up, high crescent lunge. Arms reach toward the sky. Create space in the sides of the body and soften the shoulders. Square the hips toward the front of the room and press through that back heel to keep that back knee lifted. Start to hinge forward with the heart center and sweep the arms back behind you, airplane arms. Deep breaths here. Stacking that right knee over the right ankle. And reach the arms all the way overhead. Lengthen through the sides of the body. As you exhale, we'll open into your warrior 2. So pivot the back foot down. Keep the bend in that front leg. Arms reach out to either side. Deep breaths here. Deep bend in that front leg. Really rooting down through the peaky toe edge side of that back foot and softening the shoulders. Flip the palms. Start to reach the right fingertips forward and then sweep them toward the back of the room. Start to straighten into that front leg. Reverse triangle. 1 deep breath here. Slowly start to bend into that right leg. Windmill the arms all the way down and around. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Step it back. Either vinyasa or right to downward facing dog. Move at the pace of your own breath. 1 breath per movement in your vinyasa. Take 2 deep breaths here. Inhale, let's reach that left leg toward the sky. Stack the hips, go ahead and point the toes. Start to bend into the knee, square the shoulders toward the mat. Open into that left hip. Slowly unwind. Step the left foot all the way up to the top of the mat. Back knee drops to the earth. Untuck the back toes, get light on the fingertips, rise up. Anjaneyasana. Low lunge. Soften the shoulders. Draw the right hip slightly forward to square the hips toward the front of the mat. Deep breaths here. Slowly begin to bring the hands back toward the earth. Tuck the back toes. Start to lift the back knee. Press through the back heel so much so that the right knee lifts. And then start to get light on the fingertips. Arms reach on overhead. High crescent lunge. You can always bring your hands to your hips and just square your hips toward the front. Press through the back heel. Create space in the sides of the body. Deep breaths here. Slowly start to hinge forward. Sweep the arms back behind you, airplane arms. Heart leans forward. Pressing through that back heel still. Press out of the left foot. Inhale, arms reach toward the sky. Exhale, open up to your warrior two. Back foot pivots down so it's parallel to the back of the mat. Deep bend in that front leg. Arms reach out to either side. Warrior two. Virabhadrasana B. Gazing over those left fingertips. Start to flip the palms, reach the left fingertips forward, and then sweep the left hand all the way to the back of the room. Right hand comes down by your side, straighten through that left leg, reverse triangle. Slight micro bend in that left leg to keep it from locking out. Inhale, unwind. As you exhale, you lower down to your mat, windmill the hands down and around. Pivot on the back foot, step it back, vinyasa or downward facing dog. Exhaling down through your chaturanga, inhaling to your upward facing dog. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. 2 deep breaths here. I'm going to do that same sequence, but add on. Inhale, right leg rises. Just keep the hips squared toward the mat this time. Exhale, we'll step the right foot between the hands. Back knee drops to the earth. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Arms reach on overhead. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Arms reach on overhead. Exhale, airplane the arms. Lead with the heart. Inhale, arms sweep on overhead. Exhale, warrior two, spin the back foot down, bend into that front leg. Inhale, flip the palms. Exhale, right arm reaches toward the back, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. Inhale, come back into your warrior two. Pause here. Guide the hands to the hips. Straighten into that front leg, and then turn toward the side of your mat. Toes slightly in, heels slightly out. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, we'll press the hips forward, lean back, and a nice stretch in the hip flexors, open the heart. Inhale to come out of your back bend. And exhale as you hinge at the hips, fold all the way forward and down. Hands can come to the earth. You can always grab blocks and bring your hands to blocks. You could tent the fingertips too. You could stay right here. You could walk your hands underneath your legs if that feels good for you. Take one more deep breath wherever you are. We'll slide the hands back and underneath our face. We'll guide the hands back to the hips. Engage the core as you rise all the way back up to stand. And then turn the right toes toward the front of the mat. Reach the arms out to either side. Inhale here. Exhale, windmill the arms down and around. Pivot on the back foot and then pause. From here, guide the hands to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe the right foot to the outside of the mat. Drop the back knee to the earth. Untuck the back toes. Low lizard lunge. So you can stay here and allow this to be your hip opener. Or you can gently drop to your forearms. You can also grab a block and place a block underneath your forearms. Sometimes that feels like a little in between of coming down all the way to your forearms. But allow yourself to close your eyes, releasing tension in that right hip crease and that left hip flexor. Take 2 more deep breaths here. Slowly, if you're on your forearms, make your way back to your hands. We'll heel toe that foot back to center. Press down through the palms, tuck the back toes, start to lift the back knee, step it back to plank, vinyasa or downward facing dog. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, choice of back bend. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Moving to the other side, we'll inhale, reach the left leg toward the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot up between the hands, back knee drops down. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, arms reach toward the sky. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Inhale, high crescent lunge, arms reach toward the sky. Exhale, press the heart forward, airplane the arms. Inhale, arms reach up toward the sky. Exhale, pivot the back foot down, warrior two. Inhale, flip the palms. Exhale, reach the left fingertips toward the back of the mat. Straighten into the front leg. And then inhale, unwind, come back into your warrior two. Pause here for a moment. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes toward the side of the mat. So I'll turn around so you guys can see me a bit better. Toes draw slightly in, heels draw slightly out. And again, inhale, press down through the feet, and then press the hips forward, lean back, open the heart, just as we did before. And you'll exhale, hinge at the hips, fold all the way forward and down. Hands can come to the mat. Maybe you take the same variation as you took on the other side. Or maybe you invite a slight bend in one knee and the other. Breathing into the hips. Maybe you walk the hands over to one side and then the other. Or maybe stillness is what calls to you today. Wherever you are, take 2 more deep breaths here. And start to guide the hands back to the hip creases. Press down through the feet. Rise all the way back up to stand. Turn the left toes toward the top of your mat. Bend back into your warrior two for just a moment. And then windmill the arms down and around. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Pause here in this lunge. Guide the hands to the inside of the left foot. Heel toe the left foot to the outside of the mat. Drop the back knee to the earth. Untuck the back toes. And find your variation of your low lizard lunge on this side. So maybe it's just staying on the palms. Maybe you drop back down to the forearms. Know that each side will feel very different, and that's perfectly okay. Just honor where you are on that side. Taking what feels best. Allowing yourself to take a few more deep breaths here. If you're on your forearms, start to make your way back to your palms. We'll heel toe the left foot to the center of our mat. Press down through the hands. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, step it back. Shift forward, exhale down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breaths here. Slowly walk your feet about mat distance apart. Bring the toes slightly out, heels slightly in, and find a bend in your knees. We'll walk the hands back toward the feet for Malasana. Bringing your hands to heart center. So your feet will be about mat distance apart, toes out. Press through the palms to allow your elbows to draw the knees just a little bit farther away to open into the hips. An option here, you can always grab a hold of a block and you can sit on the block if this feels better in your hips. Try and honor the space that you're in. So wherever you are, we'll take a few more deep breaths here. Maybe closing the eyes. Keeping the heart lifted. Letting go of tension in the hips. And then slowly bring the hands to the earth and walk all the way back out to your downward facing dog. Maybe bending into one knee at a time. Moving the hips a little side to side. From here, inhale, reach the right leg toward the sky. Point the toes, stack the hips, bend the knees. Keep the shoulders squared toward the mat. And then slowly start to draw the right shin toward the top of the mat. Bringing the right knee behind the right wrist and left foot behind the left wrist. Walk the back leg back and down and just take a peek behind your back leg. Make sure that back leg is nice and straight. And the right shin doesn't have to be parallel. You want to try and get it parallel over time, but it really doesn't matter as long as you're feeling the hip stretch. Keep your hands in front of the shin. And this might feel like enough. Perfectly okay to stay right here. Or you can start to walk the hands down, maybe coming onto the forearms. Maybe you stack the fists and bring your forehead to your fists for pigeon pose, or maybe you walk the hands all the way forward and guide your forehead to the earth. Wherever you are, breathe deeply into the hips. Release tension in the hip creases, let go. Taking a few more deep breaths here. Slowly, when you are ready, start to come all the way back up onto your hands, pressing down through the palms. Tuck the back toes, start to lift the back knee, and then we'll step the right foot all the way up toward the sky, bend into the knee and circle the knee in one direction and the other, moving into that hip crease, and then release the right foot down to meet the left. We'll inhale right to that left side, sweep the left leg toward the sky, point the toes, stack the hips, bend the knee, keep the shoulders squared toward the mat, and then draw the left shin toward the top of the mat behind the wrists. Walk the back leg back and down, bringing the left knee behind the left wrist, right foot behind the right wrist. Make sure that back leg is nice and straight. And again, feel free to stay right here. Or start to walk down to your forearms, or all the way forward to your forehead. Breathing into this hip, softening, letting go, releasing tension, finding a space to settle into. Take one more deep breath here. Slowly press down through the palms, come back up. Tuck the toes, lift the back knee, and reach the left leg toward the sky, bend into the knee, stir the hip in circles in one direction and the other. And then lower the left foot down to meet the right. Lower the knees to the mat. Take the knees really wide. Bring the big toes to touch, child's pose, Balasana. Soften the shoulders. Allow the forearms to just release. And start to slide the hands in toward the body. Come up onto your shins. And we'll shift over to one side and guide the soles of the feet together to touch. So bringing the feet together to touch, knees up toward the sky. Scoot toward the front of your mat so you have room to lie down in a moment. Knees soften toward the earth. Grab a hold of your ankles or wrap your hands around your toes. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, start to hinge forward. Lead with the heart. And then round through the spine. You can use the elbows to help gently press the knees closer toward the earth. Take a few more deep breaths here. Letting go. And start to come all the way back up. Use your hands to guide the knees together to touch. We'll lower all the way down to our back on our mat. And then draw the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a big hug. Rock a little side to side. Reach between the knees to grab a hold of the outsides of the feet for happy baby, drawing the knees toward the armpits. We did a lot of hip opening today, so it might feel good to gently rock side to side. Or maybe stillness is what calls to you today. Breathe into the hips wherever you are. And gently draw the soles of the feet together to touch. Lower the feet to the mat, knees splay out to the side. Bring your hands to your hip creases, or guide one hand to the heart center and one hand to the belly. Allowing gravity to help assist this hip opener. You can always place blocks underneath your knees. Take a few deep breaths here. And then inviting any final poses that you feel like you need in your practice today, or something that would help you feel complete. Or start to make your way into your Shavasana. Bringing the feet mat distance apart. Arms can reach down by your side, palms facing up to allow the fingertips to relax. And fidget around at first. Get comfortable. Soften. Releasing tension. Letting go. And stay here as long as you'd like. Or start to invite gentle movement back into the body. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankle, deepening the breath. And reaching the arms all the way overhead. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Maybe point through the feet. And start to draw the knees closer toward the body as you turn over to one side, making your way into a comfortable fetal posture for a moment. Resting your head on your bicep, pressing down through the opposite palm into the earth. And keeping the eyes closed, gently begin to press yourself up into a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Bringing the hands together at heart center, bowing the chin toward the chest. And take a moment to thank yourself for finding time to come to your mat and practice today. I thank you for letting me guide you through this practice, and I hope to see you again on your mat soon. Namaste.